It's Earth Day, and there are many things planned around the planet, but as we did last year, we wanted to talk to the people who really keep an eye on our ever-changing planet from space, NASA. And we are joined now by NASA senior scientist, Dr. Liz Hoy. So let me ask you, because I know that all the monitoring is all under this Earth observing system. What makes up the Earth observing system?
I'm glad you asked about this. When people think about NASA, a lot of times they think about going to outer space or the moon or Mars, but really NASA has a very large program that's looking back at the Earth too. So we have over 25 satellites that are up in orbit, circling the Earth, looking back down at the Earth. And we're able to see changes with water, with the atmosphere, with, for example, fire detection and air quality. And so we're really trying to look at all these different aspects of the Earth system from up in space where we get this global vantage point.
Well, since it started, 48 completed missions, you have 33 current missions ongoing, and there are 14 future missions as of now planned. And you mentioned some of the things that you're able to do. So all of our lives, Doctor, have changed, right, with technology. We're all able to do things that we weren't able to do before. So for you, what's the most exciting advancement that allows you to do something that maybe you couldn't 5 or 10 or even 15 years ago?
One of the things that I'm really excited about, I do a lot of work with wildfires. And so one of our satellites helps us to detect wildfires, see where they're occurring, how large they are, and better understand them. And so this is really important for land managers. So with our NASA systems, we're able to see these wildfires, and then within just a short amount of time, we can actually send a text to land managers on their cell phone so that they can be immediately notified that a fire is occurring and get information back to them so that they can better manage that wildfire, for example. And so that has implications for people in communities, for human health. Better understanding where fires are can help us to better understand what we can do about them.
All right, wildfires certainly have been in the news all the time, seemingly increasingly over the last few years. So when you have those kind of events that increase, and we'll talk more about the other severe weather events, but specifically wildfires, how does that tailor future missions? We mentioned you have 14 planned, but as you look at this data and you analyze, does that change future missions for NASA?
Yeah, when we are determining what our future missions might be, we're of course getting input from community members and from other scientists to better understand what's needed and what's going to impact communities. So we're trying to do the very best science that we can, but also make it really accessible for people. And so we take all that into account when new missions are being planned.
All right, so we mentioned other extreme weather events this year. We saw all the crazy snows in California. We've had this early rash of tornadoes in the south. How much of that were you able to at least foresee? Maybe not predict it's going to happen X, Y, and Z, but maybe foresee because of some of the data that's come in over the last few years?
As we think about climate change, a lot of times people think about, oh, it's just going to be warmer everywhere.
Right.
But really what we see as the climate changes is that we see more variable weather, more extreme weather. And so that's really what we're seeing. And we don't always know exactly where that's going to happen, but we do know that we should expect that there's going to be more variable weather. And so that is happening with these tornadoes, or hurricanes might be more intense with more rainfall. Wildfires might last longer in the growing season or be more intense or severe. Droughts might last for a longer period of time. So we do know we need to expect that type of weather pattern because of the situation that we're in now.
Back in January, after the temperature report was released, we visited with one of your fellow NASA scientists, Michelle Thaler. We talked about how it was 2022 was the 5th warmest year on record. Over the last 9 years, they've been among the warmest in the last 140 years. How much of EOS is tailored towards monitoring these temperatures and hopefully seeking a trend or seeking some information that the trend is reversing?
Yeah, that's a good question. And so when we think about that global temperature data, that's actually coming from ground stations around the world. And we use those ground stations to then help inform all the different satellite measurements that we're able to get. So we can use those as kind of calibration and validation for all of our different satellite missions. And of course, we have missions that are looking at precipitation, at weather patterns. And so we use that ground data to kind of pair the two up to make sure that what we see with our satellite is actually what's happening on the ground.
All right, you spent a lot of time on this. You've had a lot of Arctic research. You mentioned wildfires. So if you had a wish for Earth Day 2023, what would it be?
Oh, that's great. What I would wish is that we could raise more awareness with more people about what we can study in the Earth system and where we can go from there. We all have different roles we play in our community. Maybe we're volunteering or we're working with kids. I'm a mom, I have some kids of my own. And so on Earth Day ourselves, we're trying to get out in nature, we're going on a hike. And I just would wish that people would learn more about the Earth around them and see where they fit in to this amazing Earth system that we have.
Terrific. Liz, thanks so much for the time and the knowledge, and happy Earth Day.
All right, thanks so much for having me. Bye-bye.